Do-Rag Wisdom here, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Earth Day Y2k19.11.12. Today I have to give you important information. Every once in a while I have to do that. And before I do that, I want to recommend a book for you to read. The name of the book is The Ministry of Truth, the biography of George Orwell's 1984 by Dorian Lynskey. That's Dorian Lynskey. Let me just make sure I got that spelled correctly for you. Lynskey. And this is engrossing reading, and it's not only about 1984, but it's also about Orwell. Of course, he wrote the book, but not only George Orwell, but H.G. Wells, Aldous Huxley, Henry Miller. If you really want some thought-provoking reading, check out this The Ministry of Truth, the biography of 1984 and how George Orwell wrote it, how it came to be. Of course, it's according to this writer. And he also, very importantly, in this, they cover this socialism thing. George Orwell is a democratic, quote-unquote, democratic socialist. I mean, I usually mix it up with socio-capitalist. But, so, I mean, and the struggle that he had to deal with the socialist and what was going on with the National Socialists and the Soviet Socialists was driving Orwell crazy. In any event, ladies and gentlemen, that's a book I want to recommend. The music in the background, by the way, is James Bernard, and this is the score for his score for The Curse of Frankenstein. And it's going to be followed up, you'll hear the background, his score for, that came out at the same time, The Horror of Dracula. And this is a re-recording, a good re-recording. These are horror movies. I love horror movies, science fiction movies, weird tales. And movies, ladies and gentlemen and friends, reading has helped me deal with what I'm dealing with now, why I'm still not out of my mind. I mean, my blood pressure may have gone up, but just to deal with what we have to deal with, I've seen it so many times and read about it, and there's a way of dealing with it. Watch a lot of these James Bond movies. Read 1984. We'll be on vacation for the next couple of weeks or so, including a cruise, once again, on Anthem of the Seas. Now, we have some extremely important historical stuff happening now. These hearings are going to be going on. I personally believe that the traitorous Trump will be vindicated by the Trumpist traitors in the Senate. This is a nightmare. I have no doubt that the Democrats are going to do their jobs and impeach, as they should according to the Constitution. But again, the Trumpist cesspool in the Senate will not. And I separate Trumpists from GOP Republicans like William Weld, Dwight Eisenhower. Once I return, I still have a limited schedule for broadcasts, as I will have to take care of some projects, including policing up my area. I was never in the military, but I like that expression. And readying my possessions for dispersal once I am gone. Where am I going? Well, I'm in the zone. It could happen anytime. A good friend of mine suddenly dropped dead of cancer. He was in his early 60s. He retired from his teaching. We were both in the same school, like 3 years after I did. younger than I, dead. Cancer. I knew when I entered the 60s, 60 as in 60, not the 60s as in get high, drop out, and smoke dope and have free love. No, not that kind of 60s. I, as well as he, had entered the zone. I've been in the zone for 9 years now. This is the land of sudden or chronic death. And I certainly do not want someone to have to clean up the mess that I left behind. I believe in having zero impact on the planet as much as I can. This is one reason I chose not to have any children. By the way, I love children, young people. So once I am back, there are these projects that I'm working on may interfere with the amount of broadcasts I could put out, and I want to put out as many as possible in this time of cold civil war. Please do not be concerned, as I will continue to put out do-rag wisdom broadcasts in a timely manner so as not to leave anybody hanging. Because who could want to be for someone who's for dictators and locking up children? Who could be for that? Who could be for wanting a thug like this Erdogan in our country? This is movie stuff. This is satire stuff. This is Jonathan Swift, Orwell, Mark Twain, Jack London. So I'll try to put out these do-rag wisdoms in a timely fashion. Because in my little way, in my kitchen sink here, I have to be in the right side of history. Also, before I start again, I will try to catch up on the message boards. And by the way, this is important, I've been thinking about this. I do not check whether visitors to these pages stay on topic or not. As anal as I am, as obsessive and compulsive as I am, as depressive as I am, it's not funny. We are adults here, and I will not dictate what folks talk about on these pages. In fact, I am just happy that you communicate with each other in a good way. It warms my heart in these horrific times. We have about 356 days until our election day. We must take the Trumpists who support this traitor seriously. I always say this, I have to say this, because there are at least 60 million of them living in our country. And they will vote in a block in our country, and they will vote in a block for their pernicious, Hitlerian, Putinian, fascist leader. Trump not only has to be beaten on election day Y2k20, he must be crushed so that there is no chance that he or his followers can question the results of the election, which they will do. Like that creep Bevin down there in Kentucky, trying to mess with Bashir. A Trumpist creep. Oh, the election isn't fair. In this way, I agree with Bill Maher. We have a dangerous, traitorous creep in our White House working for foreign powers. He must be crushed so that his followers cannot question the result of the election. In any event, once the creep is out of office, there will be a lot of mopping up to do and the continued battle against the treasonous followers. I hate to call them treasonous because, folks, I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of conservatives out there I really respect. I don't agree with, but respect and admire. These creeps are not Republicans. They are not, I don't work for anybody. I'm not an operative for the Republican Party. I'm not a conservative. But we have a two-party system, two. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have now is a disease that has infested the GOP. The same disease that was in control of the Democrats, now it's in the GOP. They've infested it. They've locked the real GOP up. This is the Star Trek episode where they got the Klingons transferred to the Enterprise and they're fighting. It's a creature that wants everybody to fight. We have to free the GOP. They should be supporting William Weld. Check out William Weld. William Weld. I'm going to vote for the Democrat, the liberal. But William Weld, folks. In any event, once the creep is out of office, there will be a lot of mopping up to do, right? Like after a catastrophe. And the continued battle against his treasonous followers, who will more than likely refuse to recognize the results of the election when they lose. That's why we must crush him. It is just wishful thinking. Or are we going to have to fight physically to get our country back? That's very frightening. Are we going to have to fight physically to get our country back? And how is that going to be done, ladies and gentlemen? That'd make an interesting movie, right? We had a TV movie called The Second American Civil War, which you should check out. I'm going to try to find it someplace. Ron Perlman was in it. But how about something that shows like a down on the street level of what that would be like? Like that schmecky Steven Spielberg. I admire his filmmaking, but he's still a schmeck. Schmecky Steven Spielberg's version of War of the Worlds. A street level view of what it's like to have to fight something in your face, in your neighborhood. What are we going to do with that? I will be back and will symbolically spit in the Fury Trump's malicious diseased face daily. I will be back.